Jayden Daniels has made it to New Orleans, and we've already been here. Let's have a podcast. Hey, Patrick, NFL honors tomorrow night. Looks like Jayden Daniels is going to win Rookie of the Year. Just curious what you thought of Jayden's play this year and kind of the offense Cliff designed for him.
Yeah, I mean, extremely talented. But I think from watching the tape, especially watching the games that he played against the Eagles this year, it was cool to even see his progression throughout the season from the games that he played. And you could tell he got better and better. And that's what you want to do in the NFL is you can be talented, you can make all the throws, but can you progress and can you learn what defenses are doing to account for you and get better from that? And it seemed like he did that all year long. And it's going to be just the start of a great career. So extremely talented, great football player, and deserves all the honors that he'll get.
What up, everybody? It's Beltway Football live, Jackson Square. Me and the big man, Mitch Tischler. You hear Mahomes there. I woke up early for that, Mitch.
You did.
Early bird gets the worm. Granted, Kerwin got there at like 6. I got there at 8, but still.
I was very impressed with the responsibility of both you, Chris Kerwin, and you, JP Finlay.
I've been on a hot streak of not going out after dinner.
We have yet to step foot on bourbon.
We've
done quite well for ourselves.
I know. That's great.
The casinos across the street haven't hit that yet.
Certainly we did find a bar with dollar beers. That's dangerous.
That's a different story.
But
when I
Mahomes,
get back,
I wanted to talk to Mahomes about Jayden.
Yeah.
I just, you have an opportunity. I don't think there's any dispute that Mahomes is the best quarterback in football, right? There's zero dispute on that. And in a country where everything is disputed, that's not, right? And so I thought it would be crazy not to at least get one question with him. And I didn't feel like dealing with media night with that throng.
That was a Zoom.
And what I loved in Pat's response is, here's the thing about great players is they respect the work. And he said, anybody can make every throw. He's clearly talented. But the fact that he's progressing over the course of a season is what Mahomes appreciates. And I think that's what makes him great.
I love hearing Mahomes praise Jayden because I think Jayden as a quarterback has been super successful. But part of what everyone's appreciated about him is that he's the first guy in the building. He's the guy that puts in the work. Obviously, all the VR stuff is awesome. It'll be a lot of fun. Who knows what's going to happen in the Super Bowl Sunday, but that first game of the NFL season, if the Chiefs are hosting it, that seems like a pretty juicy matchup to get Jayden Daniels and Patrick Mahomes in that first NFL game of the season next year.
Thursday nighter.
That Thursday nighter would be pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think that's on NBC. Shout out to the Peacock.
There you go.
The Jayden Mahomes Bowl next year will be juicy regardless. Yeah. But dude, how about this? It could be Jayden versus Super Bowl champ either way. If Philly wins, they can do that. A rematch of the NFC title game. What was the opener this past year? It was Chiefs-Lions, or that was 2 years ago when the Lions won?
Yeah, it was. I'm not sure.
I think it was Chiefs-Ravens, wasn't it?
Chiefs-Packers.
No, Packers played the Eagles.
Packers played the Eagles.
Packers played the Eagles in
right.
Brazil. You know what it was? No, what was
the Thursday
Chiefs
game
opener? I think it was Ravens. No, that was later in the year.
Yeah.
I thought it was a rematch of the AFC title game, and it was Chiefs-Ravens, and the Ravens beat them. But I could be completely wrong. Maybe Greg.
Yeah. There you go.
Win one for the Kipper.
Good memory.
That game could absolutely be the case.
Yes, that would be a ton of fun. Hearing just Patrick Mahomes say Jayden Daniels' name like in a public world is awesome. We've talked about this a little bit.
I tried to get the Cliff question. Yeah. I tried to get 2 for 1. He won by
He only bought one.
Yeah.
What the Chiefs have done with building that team around Mahomes, I love as a blueprint for Jayden Daniels because they put some offensive talent around him early on in his career, let him get a little more comfortable, despite the fact that he was already a very good quarterback.
That thing was explosive early.
I mean, Tyreek Hill, you think about those teams, it was wild. But as he matured into the best quarterback in the NFL position that he's in now, they've gone to the draft for all young players on offense outside of obviously Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And they built that defense. And
they traded for Hopkins.
Right, but how much of a big player? How much of a player has he been? He's been a bit.
Same Hollywood Brown, same thing.
Right. They've tried to trade for a couple pieces, but they haven't spent a ton of money, I guess I would say. But they spent that money.
Awesome offensive line.
Right. They spent that money defensively.
Yeah.
And you can see how if you trust your quarterback as the best guy in football, you're able to win games. But yeah, the offensive line certainly is very important.
Beltway Football live in New Orleans, brought to you by MGM National Harbor and the BetMGM app. The BetMGM plane's been flying all around. There's a helicopter flying over us. I'm not going to lie, the helicopter stuff is a little freakier after last week in D.C.
It is.
I don't know if anyone can hear us as that thing flies over.
Yeah.
I'm workshopping a theory.
Okay, theory B.
I think there's too much talk about the rookie contract. I think we as a sports apparatus, whatever part of it you are in, fan, media, analyst, everybody gets so hyped up about quarterbacks on rookie contracts. And do the math. Like, run through the scenarios. Neither of these Super Bowl teams' quarterback is on a rookie contract. Of the 4 final teams, 3 of the 4 weren't. In the last 5-7 years, Mahomes once, Hurts once, Purdy once. The best, like, you can get as steamed up as you want about a quarterback on a rookie contract, but it's not as realistic as everybody makes it seem. I'm workshopping this. There's too much groupthink, and people are like, oh, rookie contract. There's too much of that.
I would like for you to
having
workshop
the stud quarterbacks what matters.
Yes, I would like for you to workshop that a little further. I think you can point to not rookie contracts being in Super Bowls and championship games because it takes guys generally time to become very good.
Right, which defeats the whole purpose of having the rookie contract conversation.
But Jayden Daniels is already good, has already proven that he can get you there, so you can take advantage of that rookie contract better. Even when you look at Patrick Mahomes, he had to sit out that first year when he was sitting behind Alex Smith. So not a wasted year because obviously it's all turned out well, but he only had 3 years on the rookie deal before the 5th-year option and whatnot.
Yeah, but he got the other myth with this is at this point with Jayden, people are like spending spree, right? Jayden's going to get paid day one after whatever the March 15th of 2027 is. He's getting paid that day.
Yeah.
The biggest extension of NFL history.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not saying you or anyone specifically.
Yeah, I know, I got you.
People get so whatever. I'm workshopping it.
It's a good workshop. I think the other thing,
I like to zig when the world zags, and right now everybody's zagging about rookie contracts, and I've had about enough.
When you talk about spending sprees, though, I think it's important to mention all the players that this team has to re-sign, or all the players that are free agents and places that they have to fill. Even if those guys aren't big dollar guys, that's still a couple mil here, a couple mil there, a couple mil there. We're gonna end up in a position where this team has, $20 or $30 million after you factor in draft picks that you're signing and whatnot, plus all the free agencies. All of a sudden, there's not. But I'm saying,
going to get Myles Garrett.
All of a sudden, there's not a bonanza of money for this team because you have to think about filling out the entire roster.
Well, they did this past year and still had a bonanza of money.
Yeah,
they filled out the roster, still had the money. Eventually, some crows come to roost. Like, eventually, there's going to be some money.
The chickens come to roost.
No, but the crows come home, the cows come home, somebody's coming home.
The cows come home, the chickens come to roost.
Yeah, exactly. I told you I'm workshopping. Also, isn't this not a TV show? Why can't my tease joke make it on a stream?
Actually,
it's the internet.
That's a good point.
Lord knows weirder things are said on the internet.
Sure. You're not usually the one that's saying them, but
maybe not on our internet.
You make a good point. I like that.
Enough about the rookie contract. Let's talk to the man himself. Jayden Daniels has been the talk of New Orleans. Obviously, everybody down here loves him from his days at LSU, winning the Heisman Trophy. He's working Radio Row. He's hanging out with Diana Rossini and McAfee and all of the things. We got to talk to him outside of the Faith in Action Awards.
It's exciting being here for honors. Obviously, we wanted to be here for a different reason, playing the game on Sunday, but, it's exciting for sure.
I got to ask Patrick Mahomes about you today, and he said obviously he can make all the throws, has all the talent, but it's his work ethic that showed me how much progress he made. What's it mean to hear that from a guy like Mahomes?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you just want the respect of your peers. So obviously Mahomes and what he's done in this league and what he continues to do, it's a good feeling just to know that your peers respect you.
The competitor you are, is it going to be tough to be here and not game planning and getting ready?
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, we're one game away. But you gotta roll with the punches. You gotta move on in life.
Jayden's just such an impressive young man, and he always tries to kind of take it easy on his own accomplishments. But a dude that did not take it easy on Jayden's accomplishments is our guy Chris Sims, NBC Sports. I got to catch up with Sims, and like everyone else, he's incredibly excited about Jayden.
I mean, it's up there with one of the all-time greats we've ever seen. I mean, it is. To go off the heels of what I just saw for C.J. Stroud do 2 years ago, I kind of went away from that year going, well, we won't see a rookie have a season like that in a long time. And then just to do it right away off the bat, and then not only like up C.J. Stroud and go, not only am I going to do C.J. Stroud, but I'm going to win a few more playoff games and get on the verge of going to the Super Bowl. Incredible year. He's got it all. I mean, I know I visited with him a little bit down there in the facility before one of our games on NBC, and I knew the man was top-notch human being, right? But then you can feel the energy and what everybody says, and I know coaches down there and what they're telling me a little bit and all of that. It's just all on the up and up. So he's got it all. He's got it between the ears. He's got all the physical ability you want, and he's a leader too.
Absolutely. And what I thought they did really well, you've been a young quarterback in this league. A lot of times too much gets thrown at you or not enough, and you're not – I thought they brought him along at kind of the perfect pace. How much do you think the culture that DQ built, but then Cliff and kind of the quarterback cocoon they built helped this thing?
I think that, that's the big thing. Hey, I've been critical of Cliff Kingsbury's offense in the past. Like it, but I've always gone, I wish there was a little more, or, a few new wrinkles as the season went on. I can't say any of that about Cliff Kingsbury and what he did with Jayden Daniels and the approach in which he took, like you said, to kind of bring him along the right way. I think one of the unspoken things about how good the first year was is that Jayden got to run an offense that was very similar in college. So there wasn't a huge learning curve there. But within that, okay, you do that, and then as it goes along, they added more and more on his plate. And that's what I think was also crazy. I mean, again, it speaks to Jayden, but it speaks to Cliff's ability to coach it and then feel good about it and the way your quarterback is executing it on the field, to where I was getting late in the year and they were like, well, how are they helping Jayden Daniels? And I'm like, I mean, they're really not. They're just going to go run the offense now. That's where they got to. So the way he brought him there, and then the confidence he brought with it, and then the formula he concocted with his talent and some of the other things, he really, not only made Jayden comfortable, but he put defenses in a bind to also make Jayden more comfortable as well, and just was blown away by everything he did this year.
Last thing from me, and I appreciate you making time.
Yeah, you're good.
Washington wins a ton of close games this year. I think the Bears game, an actual Hail Mary, if you want to call that fluky, you can.
Right.
Is there something to the ability to close out all those games late, and how do you build on that? Yes. Where do expectations go?
It's hard to carry it over to the next year always, but I think when you have a quarterback of that stature, first off, what the guy like that does is it makes a team believe and fight every week and in every game. In the fourth quarter, we're being outplayed. Hell, but we're only down by 10, and we do have this quarterback. All right, so let's keep fighting. We might be able to pull this off, right? That's what a great quarterback does. But there is a certain magic within the season, too. Not that I was a great starting quarterback, but one of the years where I actually lost to Washington in the playoffs, we, I think, had 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. And what it does, it becomes infectious to where you go, you don't feel the pressure. You're kind of like, okay, yeah, we're down. It's the fourth quarter, but we've been here before. We kind of know how to rally through these moments and play, tough football here to close the football game out. And that's the magic you guys kind of got this year. I think it'll always be there to a degree with Jayden Daniels, but you just hope you can keep capturing that year after year. It does sometimes start back at 0, sure, when the new season starts.
That was the organization's last playoff win until this year, right?
Trust me, I know. I saw it a lot, right? I saw it a lot. It still bothers me, actually, to this day, right? Because there wasn't a lot of games in life, but that was a game where –
that was an ugly game,
Ugly game, defense. We had 2 early turnovers and got down 17-0 before we even got warmed up. Right. And it was a game where, listen, no disrespect, I felt like we were the better team. We had beaten them in the regular season, felt like we were better that day, but like you see, you make mistakes in big playoff football. It doesn't matter how good you are, it's hard to overcome it.
Well, I say this as a joke, mostly. I don't know. Joe Gibbs, his accomplishments are incredible, right? Just incredible. You
Most
can make a case.
Underrated coach ever.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Especially 3 Super Bowls, 3 different quarterbacks, all this stuff, right? You can make an argument that Joe Gibbs' greatest accomplishment is the only coach able to win a game under the ownership of a playoff game under the ownership of
He's
the only guy. If you think about that game, what your Tampa team had versus that Washington team, they had Gibbs on the other side.
Exactly right. I know that. And that did seem like the only time of the Dan Snyder era where things were quiet and calm, right? I would say that. But damn, you guys got it good. As a Giant fan, and I sit here, 100th year anniversary, we had to deal with the damn Commanders and the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. And you got that damn guy at quarterback. Gosh, now we got to deal with this crap. It's going to be tough.
That feels good. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Sims. I appreciate it, man.
It's awesome hearing Chris Sims and this national media group get so excited about him. And yesterday we saw Jayden Daniels on Radio Row. He was making the rounds. And listen, you and I have covered a million Super Bowls, and they're always fun to be there. But the storylines has always been negative for the Burgundy and Gold.
Different.
And the excitement around him as he was walking Radio Row was incredible because you had folks running up to him trying to take selfies. You had people crowding around his interviews. His mother was there. Charlie Muley was running around with him. It was really cool to see all of that. And tonight we're going to see him win the Offensive Rookie of the Year award, which is awesome. He deserves every bit of the accolades that he's getting this week and this weekend.
How about Sims liking Higgins in Washington?
Listen, I mean, there's going to be...
It's a real weapon.
There's going to be folks that want to push all the chips in and make it happen because
the rookie contract.
Because of the rookie contract. There you go.
I think it's going to be fascinating to watch it all unfold. It's a very exciting week for Jayden, and I truly think he just wants it to be over.
Yes. It's funny. There were a couple of pictures and videos I posted in various social media platforms. By the way, shout out to Eagles fans who do an elite job of still trolling 2 weeks later. Like, I care what you think about Jayden Daniels, but people kept being like...
Jayden was good against Philly.
I know.
It trolled the Eckler, McNichols.
Fumble,
yeah.
But a bunch of people were commenting on the videos and pictures saying, like, he doesn't look happy to be there. That's a guy that only wants success, whatnot, And I think to some extent, like you said, he just wants to move on and, start getting ready for next year, which is crazy for somebody that young with that much success.
And then, watch the Lakers game and figure out how Luka's going to help LeBron. I just think that's how he's wired.
I didn't have Luka and LeBron making it on the Beltway Football stream comments, but,
I'm an NBA guy. I saw on Bovada that KD to D.C. might happen.
Did you see that?
I don't think that's happening.
Did you see that?
Yeah, you showed it to me.
Yeah. There we go.
You should have. I mean, that to me is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. But the Wiz made a big trade.
Yeah.
What you got on apparently the other guy, not Middleton, but
so
Johnson's
I only know Middleton.
Supposed to be a stud.
What's Johnson's first name?
AJ.
I know it's AJ. Okay, AJ Johnson.
AJ Johnson.
All right.
They think he's a potential real player of importance.
What I like, they're putting together a ton of good defensive guys and guys who are responsible on both ends of the court. If we're talking about Luka, we got to talk about responsibility on both ends of the court.
The opposite.
No,
but he can fill it up. But he's the opposite.
Now they just need a guy that can score 50, and we'll be ready to go.
All right, we got one more interview to throw too.
We got one more interview. We got Brad Edwards.
I love Brad.
Dude, it was so fun talking.
You're
to
younger
him.
than me, but people that are 10 years younger, like a lot of our listeners are 25, they have no idea, one, how good Brad Edwards was in general, but the game he played in the Super Bowl against the Bills, out of this world. I remember watching it live, just being blown away.
We talked about that a little bit, about how maybe he should, if quarterbacks weren't as beloved as they were, even though that was 25 years ago.
They were beloved then, too.
Right, they still were beloved then. I felt a little bad about it. I told him that's really the first NFL football game I remember as a kid. I remember specifically where I was, what we were eating, what we were doing during the game and stuff like that. So to get a chance to talk to Brad today was awesome. Here's that interview. Redskins Super Bowl champion and CEO of the NFL Alumni Association. How much fun was it for you watching this burgundy and gold team this year?
Yeah, I mean, and it's been a long time in the making, as we know, and certainly as the season unfolded, it didn't necessarily get started off that way. It was a little, kind of rocky out of the gate, and they found a way to win games, win close games, which is something that you start to go like, okay, that's a skill in and of itself. And then as it really got rolling, it was just so much fun to watch. And as you know, things in the DMV, business is always better on a Monday morning when Washington wins. So really exciting season. I think it bodes well for the future.
And Jaden Daniels, obviously, who was a revelation this year. What did you see out of him, and how surprised were you to see a rookie quarterback have that much poise and be that good?
Yeah, so much. I would say, as good as any rookie I've seen in 30 years, playing and post-playing in my career. And I go back to the summer where I remember talking to Doug Williams, and I said, what do you think of your draft pick? And he unequivocally, without hesitation, said, we got the best player in the draft. And I went, oh, okay. I saw him play some, not a ton in college. And I said, okay, I hear you. And you expect some of that, but you also are going to get, because it's not a science, and it's barely an art. It's like hiring. You just never know what you're going to get, like a box of chocolates, Forrest Gump. But there was no qualification but you just never know these kind of things. And sure enough, and when I saw him, when he really had me, we made that throw against Cincinnati. It's just the pocket presence, the poise, his progression reading, his understanding of the game is clear to me. Mechanically, he's excellent. I mean, his body mechanics, his footwork, his ball placement, all that is, but it's his progression reading coming out of the huddle and knowing what to go and where to go with the football is clear to me that he puts the work in. He's prepared when he gets out on the field.
I mean, can you imagine as a DB trying to not just the mechanics of them throwing the ball and the anticipation, but also the movement, around the pocket and
right? Yeah, he just moves so well, and you've been seeing guys like that, and going back to from my ear, Steve Young, Randall Cunningham, people like that you've seen that can run and throw the football really well, and I just think he does it. He does both of those things so well as a rookie out of the gate. You're just you're not used to seeing that. And would I like him to go down sooner? 100%. I do know. Even though it's probably never been safer in 100 years to play the game, longer than that, to play the game than it is today, I still would like him to go down, a little bit sooner.
It's been such a long time since we've been able to say, the two most important people in D.C., the president and the starting quarterback. Now you have the starting quarterback, and hearing Joe Gibbs talk about immediately turning the page and getting back to it, what does this team need to do to bring it back home next year and give themselves the same sort of opportunities that they had this year in the playoffs?
Yeah, and you've heard this word a number of times, and it really is true that it starts with culture. It starts with this, and that is really esprit de corps. How much do we buy into to what the coaches are teaching us, or telling us? How much do we buy into each other? How much are we going to come out every day and have a good attitude? Eliminate any of the complaining or anything that happens in the locker room, all those things that tear most organizations down, not just sports, but in business, and keeping all of that out of the locker room and making sure that because you're going to have transition, just with their roster and where that is, you've got a number of players that you have to think about, do I keep them? Do I transition? But it's paramount that you maintain guys that are coming in that have that kind of personality, and are team-oriented people, and give me a B-rated athlete any day that will do that, as opposed to a star that doesn't have that, and that was kind of Joe Gibbs' mentality, is give me a room full of those guys, sprinkle it with a handful of stars who have great attitudes and are great team players. That'll always coach them up, and that'll always be a recipe for success.
Sounds a whole lot like what Dan Quinn was trying to put together this year. Lastly, for you, NFL Alumni Association, tell us a little bit about what are you guys working on? What are you doing?
Yeah, we're doing we do a ton of stuff. On one end, we're a membership organization, where we bring guys, together, give them a chance to interact and connect with each other. We do we raise over $1 million a year on average for third-party charities through our national office and through our chapters, 37, 38 chapters. We do a lot of campaign work for our mission that are many times healthcare related, determinants of health or other social responsibility issues. We've got an amazing one. We're kicking off a cancer campaign with CDC, which is really amazing. We're kicking off On 3 Weight Health Hike, which is really between weight and healthy living and healthy lifestyles, and that's one for guys as we transition out of the league is so important that we redirect this focus onto your health, and then use that as a message out from an awareness perspective out to a national audience.
All right, Mitch, you said something there before the interview. Nice job with Brad. You remember where you were and what you were eating for that Super Bowl. Where were you and what were you eating?
I was in Mike Thurm's basement, who is a neighbor down the road. And I believe I've showed you the picture before, but my mom.
The cakes.
Shout out to Cakes by Lorraine. She makes a ton of great cakes, and she had a very cool Bill's Skins cake that she made. And I very well remember eating the Redskins helmet in the middle of the cake, which was awesome.
It's awesome.
Just all the frosting in the world.
All right, we're going to bounce. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Greg, show them the Wienermobile on our way out.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. There's a Wienermobile here.
My
Mitch knows the
baloney
song.
has a first name, it's OSCAR. My baloney has a second name, it's MAYER.
How do you know that song?
I don't know. I think it's before our time.
I don't know that song.
But the second that we saw the Wienermobile drive by, I started singing it, and Greg said the same thing as you. That's
right.
basically bacon, right? All right. Well, I think we've done enough
If you made it this
random.
far, I owe you a hot dog.